Hello everybody and welcome back to the Legends of Runeterra World Championship. We have two more matches and we are going to decide the final two players moving on to day number 3, where the top 8 are going to be battling it out in a single elimination bracket. Bringing you all the action for this second to last game, we've got Skarzig and Mogwai joining us on the desk. And Mogwai, I gotta start off by asking you, let's just call it what it is. I think shade was thrown at you from Swim. What do you have to say about that?
I just love that he says that right as he's about to leave. You know, that's phenomenal. All I gotta say is Shihu and Alan are doing well. Dinger is coming for you, Swim. That can be taken out of context in a way, but whatever. I stand by what I said.
Well, I don't want to wait any longer to get into this match because I really want to see the results. So let's go ahead and get into it. Group C, match 6. Nice. Skarzig, take it away.
We've got Alan versus Ragnarosich. Now, Alan has had just these games that have come down to these grinds, and Alan, we know, wants to be the control at all times, and we could honestly see with the chips being down, everything on the line here, the winner advancing to top 8 day 3 of the World Championships, Alan might have a change of heart. Can we see perhaps a shift in his playstyle to be more aggressive and take advantage of some of the tempo he's been earning through his strong play?
I am so excited for this matchup. There's even, a little bit of history between these two, and it's just going to be really exciting to see who comes out on top. These two players have always been at the top of the European tournaments. Ragnarosich is a Russian player that has made a name for himself for multiple top performances, and Alan is one of those players, perhaps, in my opinion, one of the very best players in the world that hasn't really achieved a title yet, like no seasonal win or anything like that. And I feel like his time is coming. His gameplay is just spectacular, and he's focused on that reactive sort of gameplay. Nothing makes Alan smile more than to shut down what his opponent is trying to do. And we'll see how this matchup plays out, because these two lineups are very different. Action Sivir is the only deck these two have in common.
Action Sivir and then Caitlyn Draven have been the decks that we've seen Alan on all day, because the third list, for those of you who don't recall, is actually a Shellfolk deck. It's taken the ban every single time. The scariest deck in the tournament, being played by what several players have said is the scariest player in the tournament.
Indeed, I would love to see this deck. I'm actually really on the fence about what bans are going to happen here, because this sort of lineup, both of these players have a rather peculiar lineups compared to others, and they also match up really awkwardly in certain cases. Both of them are playing Action Sivir, like we mentioned, but then it's Pink City and the Bandle Tree. The one Bandle Tree player in the entirety of the Worlds is right here in Ragnarosich, and we'll see if Alan opts to respect this deck or just lets it go through. It really comes down to what they opt to ban. What do you think? I'm gonna throw the problem at you, Skarzig. What do you think are there options for banning?
Because there's a ban here that's pretty obvious, and then it opens up the mind game, right? Where Ragnaros is just like, okay, I'm playing Bandle Tree, I'm just going to ban the Caitlyn Draven because I'm going to take that Scorched Earth out of the equation. And so if if Alan anticipates this and says, well, I know that this deck is going to get banned, do I want to keep Bandle Tree up, or do I ban it in response just to keep myself from getting high rolled? If you're a player who wants to play slow, keep the games going long, then Bandle Tree becomes a huge hindrance. But oh my god,
we get to see it! We get to see it, ladies and gentlemen, and this is very good call. The Draven Caitlyn ban, a deck that actually matches up not only well against Bandle Tree potentially, but also against Akshan Sivir. And Ragnarosich says he wants nothing to do with it, but we finally get to see the Ezreal Vi Shellfolk deck. And Petrus Panda would be so proud. It's probably both excited and nervous at the same time, because it all rides on this. If I need to remind the viewers here, the winner of this match will advance to the top 8. It's all on the line, and we got the potential of an Action Sivir mirror as well.
Action Sivir mirror matches can go very volatile one way or the other, and I think that in the mirror match, Alan's style of wait and see could actually make Ragnarosich misplay, where Alan is passing at you and you just begin to overthink. Oh my god, does that mean he has the rally? Does that mean he has the sharp sight? And if you are the player that is forced to commit first and you get blown out, you basically can no longer get back on the board, right? With Merciless Hunter and with the threat of rally, so much quick attack hitting your Nexus, that could be a very volatile mirror match. I think the wild card play is actually going to be the Bandle Tree here. We know the Shellfolk deck does have Aftershock in it. There is still landmark interaction there.
Not only that, they could also potentially prank with a Curious Shellfolk on the board and get the Scorched Earth that Ragnarosich is running in his deck as well. There are several options to deal with a Bandle Tree late game, and if Alan is able to stop the early onslaught from the Yordles, he can potentially set up a late game burn win with Ezreal. I've seen this deck in action, and when it gets going with Curious Shellfolk, you don't run out of gas. Your spells are very cheap. A lot of them burst speed, and Ezreal just starts blasting again and again and again until the Nexus is down to 0. So just so excited to finally see this deck in action. I think chat is also really excited for it. Here we go.
This deck, look at this, Trinket Trade, Conchologist. We have this early game prank package that can slow down your deck, your opponent's deck, if it is too aggressive for your taste. There's now going to be the huge decision around, do I save my Trinket Trade for the Shellfolk, or do I absolutely need to prank in the early game in order to keep my opponent at bay? Already on round 2, we've got the Treasure Seeker coming through, and a little bit of aggression. Ragnarosich on the Ruin Runner version still.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that real quick. He's running triple Ruin Runner, no Vicarian Bruiser, and no Screeching Dragon. The only player, he seems to have like his own thing going on with his lineup. I do like several tech options here. Like he's also playing a one-off of Quicksand, which we saw in another series. Referencing what you said earlier, I believe in this Curious Shellfolk deck, you generally always want to hold on to your pranks for when Shellfolk comes down, because the value is just amazing. Not only do you get to weaken one of their cards, you get a version, you essentially get to nab their card because you're reducing the cost by 1. It's just so, like, value-wise, Alan's deck will win. The key question here is, can Alan survive the early onslaught? And right now, it's looking pretty neat with this Mystic Shot. Even though there's a Sharp Sight in response, there is a Thermogenic Beam, but the problem is, it seems like there's nothing Alan can do to prevent 6 damage to the face by turn 3, and that's a pretty brutal hit here.
Taking that damage early is going to be so important for Ragnarosich to get the tempo. Because the Ruin Runner is still this deck's top end, there's a lot of overwhelm damage that can still punch through. The Spell Shield, even though we have Pokey Stick, etc. to pop that, being able to follow up beyond that and clear that body before you take the overwhelm is going to be absolutely terrifyingly difficult for Alan to do. Thermo being cashed in early, this is probably one of the best targets, but still, going into round 4, we don't have a big threat just yet.
Good draw there by Ragnarosich. Heart of the cards, baby, getting that Sivir. Because he had no good play. I mean, he had the 1-drop, right? He could carry over the spell mana, but I feel like at this point you definitely want to be applying some pressure. In response, Alan sees Sivir go down. He's like, I cannot keep taking damage. I need a chump blocker. And we see the Poro Cannon and double Poro on board, gonna get him an attack now that he knows he doesn't have to play around the likes of Sharp Sight, getting a little bit of chip damage on him, but most importantly, chump blockers to slow this onslaught down. He's taking a big hit already. He cannot afford to take more.
And with these Poro Cannons coming through, this is going to buff up the Vi a little bit. Ragnarosich trying to seize the opportunity here with this tempo. Not even worried about bluffing any spells, just swinging in, forcing through. Vi going to trade into the Ruin Runner here. And things are still looking stable. We're heading into round 6 now with the Curious Shellfolk. We'll see if this value fiesta can bring Alan back into this game.
You would think that you could develop the Treasure Seeker alongside the Sivir and then go for a Concerted Strike to remove this Shellfolk. But if Ragnarosich actually opts to do this, he will be punished. Instead, this is why these are the best players in the world, man. Instead of opening the 1-drop, he goes for the Shapestone onto Sivir, just completely denying the counterplay right there. And before Alan loses the Curious Shellfolk, he will generate the value with that. Give me a moment. That is a trinket trade. There we go. With the trinket trade, he's able to generate 2 Otterpuss, and 1 is 0 mana, which essentially allows him to ramp up, right, with the Attune. As he has another Curious Shellfolk in hand and more pranks. He's got the value, like we said. He can just draw an insane amount of cards from his opponent. But
I think Alan is in a really great position here because of the Shellfolk. We've seen this happen over and over again with these Sivir decks, where you've got Sivir in play, sure, and the rest of the deck and the rest of the hand is just spells. And so if this prank train leaves the station, you know, Ragnarosich is in a position where all of these spells become unplayable, or it takes your entire turn to play 1 card, and then Alan just pulls ahead. 1 Concerted Strike already off the table means that the second Curious Shellfolk might be very, very safe in development here.
I love this Pokey Stick. Really like this Pokey Stick. And Ragnarosich is just like, I'm going in. I'm not sure. This rally is a little bit desperate, to be honest. It comes off a bit desperate because you still got that chump blocker. And... Yeah,
because Ragnarosich knows that if Alan gets to the late stages of the game and this value just overwhelms him, that you're forced to be as aggressive as possible and try to end the game. But there's no Akshan here. There's no Vagabond to get that Palace ticking down, to get that over-the-top extra value in card draw that this deck really needs to close out these games. Ezreal also hitting the board. Now you have more Mystic shots being generated to help you keep this board under control. Look at all the mana now at Alan's disposal with this second Shellfolk hitting the board.
This is when we start to get fun, ladies and gentlemen. This is when things start to get fun. We see a Cataclysm here being applied to kill off the Ezreal. Alan can deny this potentially with Mystic Shot and some fumes, but opts not to, respecting the potential of combat tricks, knowing that he has another Ezreal in hand. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. And he's gonna hit all spells. Like, this entire hand is spells, so the prank value is off the charts. And you got a 3 mana Golden Aegis, a 1 mana generation for the Sunstone Charger, and all of a sudden you are crippling Ragnarosich's hand, and Ragnarosich is in deep. Like, he really needs something like an Absolver here to even represent a chance. Alan has stabilized, ladies and gentlemen, and he is going to generate a ridiculous amount of value. This deck's debut is gonna be a success, it seems. Down goes the next prank. Will he hit the okay, he does not hit the Quicksand, but he does hit the Shapestone. 3 mana Shapestone. His entire hand is awful now. And he's got 0 mana combat tricks. Oh my god.
Is why this deck has been banned all day. Just putting a barrier on the Shellfolk just to have a blocker. Alan knows that I'm going to take over this game. I don't need to attack you. Ezreal will level up eventually.
And setting up that kill with the Sun Fumes onto the... Oh man, that's just beautiful. Like, you have knowledge. Like, this is what's so good. But I was saying the Quicksand because the Quicksand is the one card that just stops Ezreal, right?
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, Alan is waiting for this to happen so he can respond with the Sun Fumes. Just next level play, because guess what? Now, yeah, you can go for a Shapestone to save her. But it's like, it's 3 mana, and you're just running out of gas. You're very preserving your unit. You're still going to get her down to 1, which means that Pokey Stick right there, he doesn't even need to go for his own Shapestone. He can just poke that Sivir next turn, and this is just looking amazing for Alan here.
And because of the pranks, there's eyes on the Golden Aegis and the Waking Sands. And now you're playing around, what are the odds this next top deck is anything that's going to threaten me? Aftershock could even hit the Preservarium to deny even more resources.
Double Preservarium is not bad because it allows Ragnarosich to crawl back to this game and try to find some combos here to try to overwhelm Alan. Alan's generated a lot of value, but he's also running a little bit low himself. He's gotten some good cards here and there, but they're also relatively low impact here. Minimorph, really neat, but he needs a bit more presence though.
Yeah, a lot of card generation, a lot of ways to deal with what Ragnarosich is doing, a lot of ways to slow it down. But Alan now is in a position where you've got this position of advantage, but can't really press anything aggressive. Here comes Time Trick. because this is still a predict, Shellfolk
Exactly.
is going to give you an extra copy.
Exactly.
This synergy is wild.
Amazing. In 2 time tricks, which means this is exponential value. This is actually exponential value here if it is generated by Alan. Gotta get
And then-
potentially Otterpuss or the Mystic Shot. 2 Mystic Shots, pretty good, you know, especially with the ability to draw another Ezreal as well. I mean, he has 1 Ezreal left in the deck and he can try to predict for it. Otterpuss is also really... Like, it's also a very nice play because Otterpuss gives you bodies, right? But I really like that Mystic Shot. I'm happy he took that Mystic Shot right there. Down goes the second time trick. Let's see what he picks up this time. Oh, he picked
We're
that
just gonna
real
keep-
fast.
Oh my god. We're just looking in the box here, Panda.
Okay, somebody.
This is lethal. Look at all these Mystic
Yeah,
Shots. And don't
I'm
forget,
telling ya.
Aftershock can go face.
So anyways, I started blasting. I really, really wanted to say that. I'm so happy I got my moment for that. Here we go. That is one of the sexiest lethals I have ever seen in Legends of Runeterra, and this Curious Shellfolk deck definitely showcased why it's been banned 2 times prior. What a dominating game 1 for Alan, 1 game away from getting the top 8 position. It all comes down to his own Sivir action now. It is Ruin Runner versus Vikarin Bruiser, the movie.
The Vikarin Bruiser is a technology that has been adapted into the Sivir lists because it's a little bit better in the mirror match, right? You just get to play down a big 5/5, really impressive stats for the cost, and the way it combines with your concerted strikes and your single combats, your cataclysms to get even more lucky finds, to accelerate your palaces and your Sentinel's Horde. The way that it snowballs, it can sometimes become a Ruin Runner anyway, or become an extra Sivir anyway, means that Alan is specifically adapted for the mirror, whereas when we compare it to the Ruin Runner version for Ragnarosich, it's trying to bully some of these low to the ground chump blocky decks. We've seen a ton of Plunder today, a ton of Lulu Poppy, just as an example. But now we're actually going to see Bandle Tree from Ragnarosich switching it up here.
Oh,
How do you feel about
looking at
this
both
matchup?
Action and Sivers in case we got a mirror match here, but no, it is actually Action Sivir versus Bandle Tree first. I believe Ragnarosich must feel more confident with this matchup. I mean, this is not a matchup we've seen up to this point because this is a very rare deck, but it does have it does share a lot of similarities with other Bandle Tree decks that we've been seeing. And one of the things to consider here is that while they can spread out really well with a bunch of different units, the Sivir Action list has a really solid chance at its picking off these units and getting favorable trades with the barriers, the combination of that. Merciless Hunter puts in the work, the combat tricks as well. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but he's got that really solid turn 1 tracker into turn 2 Bright Steel Protector. You're always happy to see that, especially when you got that attack token on turn 2.
Because the Bandle Tree puts you on a specific clock, Alan is now in a reversed position where he needs to be incredibly aggressive. We could see some very reckless, some very audacious attacks from Alan's side coming through here. We do have Vagabond now on 3, so the extra value of the Palace, which Ragnarosich was missing out on last round, will be enjoyed by Alan. The Chump Blocker's just going to keep coming through, but it's only a matter of time before Alan, with the quick attackers, being able to force your opponent to block while not sacrificing your own board, maybe results into a rally, into a victory.
Indeed, and I want to clarify something for the newer players watching that may be wondering why is he playing House Spider in this deck? There's a very neat thing to take into account, and that is that while the House Spider is Noxus in regards to this region, the Spiderling that it spawns is from Shadow Isles, which means that by playing this 2-drop, you advance the requirement for the win condition in the Bandle Tree by 2 stages. And that is why you play, not only because of the synergy with Poppy, but it's just like there's so much good going on with this thing. It's important to know, you know, and I'm also going to come clean here, Scar's sake. I actually learned this like a few days ago. But, yeah, for newer players.
The deck building that in the synergies that have come through for Bandle Tree, when it was first revealed, I admit I thought it would just be a happy, fun time, sort of meme-y deck. You know, let's all hold hands, ring around the rosy around the Bandle tree. And then it was like, wait, this deck is meta? Oh, wait, this deck is really meta. And now that the entire metagame essentially shifted against this deck, it explains why Ragnarosich is the only player that brought it here to the top 16. And it has still been getting banned here and there, but with a wide board and Poppy, Bandle tree isn't necessarily the win condition like you pointed out. This could just be a wide attack. Concerted Strike needs to come through to stop this Poppy.
I was just about to, I was just thinking that, he has to concede here. He cannot let this Poppy swing. I think we've seen throughout this tournament just how dangerous this champion is, and the reality is, if you have an answer for it, kill it. Just kill it. Just get it out of there, because she will just win games. The amount of value that she generates with attack, the fact that she grants everything, it's just, this board could become really scary really fast. And now we're going to see a clean slate here, ladies and gentlemen. Both boards are going to go, or not. I mean, you don't want to, it feels bad to block with the Bryson Protector onto the Telescope. That's why the Telescope is so good, man, because you may think, well, it's understated, but it's still a 2-1. And it feels so awful to trade a 3-2 into it, but you do, in this matchup, want to do your best to keep the board just unitless. Keep it simple.
Keep the board clear. Because this is going to allow Alan, when the board is clear, it gives you so much room to play a big singular unit. The Recurrent Bruiser is perfectly timed here. There is no combat tricks, there's no Sharp Sight, no Shape Stone, so playing the Akshan is incredibly vulnerable to a potential Buster Shot. And Bandle Tree coming down 7 out of 10.
Also, you don't have to worry about this Poro blocking into you, and you having a Ravenous Flock, because Ragnarosich is not running that. So he actually pokes his own Poro to prevent the Lucky Find generation, and does find a second Buster Shot. But throwing 2 Buster Shots at a 5-drop, that feels bad.
And now the Bandle Tree's other ability is that it's going to generate a follower from a region you have not yet played. So Slippery Wave Rider, good old Slippy, making an appearance here in Worlds. A nice elusive unit. You don't even care about pushing through the damage, right? You just want the followers to be played.
We may see a group shot here from Ragnarosich, trying to make this an even trade, even though you can still just buff Sivir with the Lucky Find. I honestly, I knew it was advanced, but I didn't know it was already going to be at 8. That Bandle tree is really close to just winning the game here for Alan. But we also see that the Warlord's Horde is about to flip, and we could see not play action here. Just I mean, he could play action. Oh yeah, now he's gonna play. Never mind. But
yeah,
I think
then you get the Sentinel.
because if he flips this here now, he doesn't get the Sandstone Charger, because he needs to end this game really soon. If not next turn. I would like to take a look at the Bandle tree right there, because it really does matter what regions he has left. Because if he has access to those regions in his deck,
the remaining regions are the way this deck is constructed. It does have access to all the regions. You don't have to rely on RNG. That's what makes it so good. PNZ and no, not Shadow Isles. That came off the Spiderling. It's PNZ is one of them for sure. And
Ionia? No, he played the Owlcat, right?
Yeah, Owlcat was Ionia. We already got Protoporo for the Freljord. Why can't I remember the final region? This always happens to be Mogwai. Shurima?
Yeah.
Yes. Good job, my friend.
Oh, thank you. There's the Fallen Feline. Yep, it is indeed Shurima. So he cannot win this turn, but he can win the next one, which means this may very well be AlanZ's last attack, and I don't think this is anywhere near enough.
Yeah, we've got double Preservarium to draw a lot of cards here. We've got leveled up Sivir in play with Fearsome, and Fearsome does so much work for going over the top.
Fearsome! Oh my god, I slipped. I forgot about the Lucky Find, and I didn't notice the Fearsome. I was so focused on talking. Wow!
Yeah, we were looking at the Bandle tree to figure out how close it was, but AoE Fearsome is ridiculous!
Whoa, wait. 6, 11, wait, he's just going for lethal like this. Oh my god, does he have him? Oh, if he open attacks like this, he has him. What is he playing around at this point? Minimorph.
He's
worried about Minimorph. He's worried about Minimorph, which is why he's playing this. But oh no, does he lose lethal? No, because he has this Sharp Sight. Never mind, he has a Sharp Sight. This is over. This is actually over. Alan is going to advance 2-0. I am so sorry. I missed on the Fearsome completely. That is incredible.
Sharing that keyword is huge. Being able to punish, we were thinking about maybe something like Overwhelm to punch through these chump blockers, but Fearsome to just go above them instead. Alan with a clean 2-0, advancing to day 3 to top 8. You know he loves it, and I'm so glad that we got to see Shell Folk.
Amazing. What a dominant performance. Alan is in the top 8, ladies and gentlemen, just defeating his rival in Ragnarosich in a 2-0 fashion. That's gotta feel good.
Oh my gosh, especially when so many players have feared Alan coming into this tournament. A lot of those players are gonna have to play him now.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
he doesn't get knocked out. He doesn't get knocked out of the tournament, and now Shell Folk. We finally there was a chance for it to just be banned all the way through, and then players maybe going into day 3 without a good idea of exactly how ridiculous it can get. But we got a small glimpse there, and we could potentially see day 3 where Shell Folk is just perma banned.
Yeah, I think that game 1 was a very good example why people have banned this deck basically the entire day. So we're gonna see the Shell Folk, we're gonna see the Darkness tomorrow. Like, things are spicy. Things are super spicy, Mogwai.
Yeah, that's why, like, I was watching in the watching room the matchup between Yamato and Cello. People saying, "Oh, you're rooting for Cello. He's a Spaniard speaker," and I think he's an awesome guy. But I really wanted Yamato because I want to see Darkness in the top 8. Like, I'm really excited. I also think he's a phenomenal player, and this top 8 is shaping up really neat. We got our first 2 Asian region players in the top 8 guaranteed, and now Alan is in Europe, baby. Let's go. We just need Shishu to take it now, and it's the perfect day.
Well, we'll have to
Not
wait
biased.
and see. No bias? Are you sure?
No, not whatsoever. I'm a professional.
We can only hope that we somehow get Darkness and Feel the Rush, like these completely out of left field decks all getting rewarded. There's the mindset of, I'm going to play the best decks in the meta, I'm going to counter the best decks in the meta, or I'm going to invent my own meta.
Oh, well, let's go ahead and pull up the standings just to catch everybody up to speed and so you can visualize who is moving forward so far. At the half point of the day, we had everybody tied at 1-1. And so every match, these last 4 matches, has mattered because now Alan, Yamato, Odyssey have all clinched their spot in the top 8. And the last 2 players to decide it all are Majin and Shihu, which will be battling it out in our final match. I cannot wait to see who our 8th and final player is going to be moving on to day 3 to battle it out in that single elimination bracket. Skarzik, I hope you had a ton of fun. It has been a pleasure having you for these past 2 matches. We're going to say goodbye to you for now.